Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Laura, and here's her story. Hey, Ollie, my name is Laura. I'm 23 and from New Jersey. You can use my name. I made a contribution, but I intend to give more once I can. I wrote to you once before. It was about adoption and my family and homelessness. I did finally move out of my family's in October last year with my husband and sons. I lived there my whole life, leaving for several months with my older son to live with my husband, who I was dating at the time. I had to move back due to finances, and I was pregnant with my second child. I hid the entire pregnancy from them with giant shirts and sucking in my stomach. They didn't know until I gave birth. I couldn't deal with them telling me I was a slut and so on again. So I hid it. I still live close to them, though, because we couldn't afford other areas. I don't really know how to word all of this. My relationship with my oldest son is very troubled because he thinks my narc mom is his mother, since we lived with her and my grandparents for a long time, and she and my grandparents totally took over and would make threats to have him taken away if I objected to the food they gave him or constant TV time, or me having alone time with him away from them. I had a great therapist who knows very much about narcs, specifically narc mothers and daughters. When I was little, I had a vesicatorial reflux, but it didn't start until I was 3, which is later than usual, I'm pretty sure. And most children grow out of it, but for me, I nearly died from it because my kidneys scarred and began to fail. I suspect that my mother wiping me from back to front and using tons of bubble baths was what gave me non-stop bladder infections. Well, mother doesn't know how to wipe a girl. That's done deliberately. It can be a birth defect, but I'm suspicious if mine was. My mom always loved the attention from me being ill. She would treat me like a complete piece of shit, but cry in front of people saying how she couldn't stand me being sick. Every few months for years, I had to be held down on a cold x-ray table while they shoved a catheter inside me and had me empty my bladder on the table in front of tons of people. The doctor messed up one time and cut me, but I had to act like I wasn't in pain after, because I would get yelled at after if I refused stickers or acted really sick. So my mother didn't realize I was cut until she saw blood filled my underwear later on. This went on for years until I finally had open surgery to save my life from it. All of it really fucked me up. I've had many other issues since, and they were directly caused from my mother, her forcing me onto the pill, which wrecked my health. But she said it was my fault. I had heavy periods when I was 14. I wouldn't take it. So after 2 years, I gave in, and wow, it destroyed my life. When I was 12, she stopped letting me see my father. And that's when I started failing school up until high school graduation, which I barely made. As a teen and young adult, my mother always competed with me about beauty. She would always say I used to look like her and like the beach, and that I don't anymore, and that it's because my uncle or dad brainwashed me into liking things that she doesn't. She wouldn't allow me to go for walks by myself, but I was desperate for exercise. I struggled with anorexia. After almost dying from getting down to 80 pounds as a full-grown person, I gained weight back, and she told me I needed to do some sit-ups because she couldn't buy me new clothes. That was age 15. When I was 19, I was very thin, but from eating very well and intense exercise. I had a young son at that point, and my mother told me I was disgustingly skinny and that men don't like skinny. My mother chose my doctor for me with my first son because I was 19. I didn't like him, and I specifically told him not to cut me. My mother wouldn't let me have him at the hospital. I wanted because it was 5 minutes. Oh, she wouldn't let me have him at the hospital I wanted because it was 5 minutes further a drive. When I went into labor, I was getting into the car, and my mother made me wait so she can put towels and garbage bags on the back seat, then loudly screamed at me, "This is why you use a fucking condom." I told her for weeks before that She was not allowed in the room while I labored, but I was out of it. So she stayed in the room and laughed at me during contractions and bossed me around with the nurse into things I didn't want. I made her leave when I was about to push. I had both my children without epidurals. The doctor gave me a fourth degree episiotomy when there was no distress and nothing going on. My mother heard my son cry from the hallway and tried to force her way in. It took the doctor about 45 minutes to try to fix what he had done to me, which resulted in a year of physical training and physical therapy and permanent damage. But doctors had to get security to keep my mother from coming in. It was like her child was born. When she did finally come in, she held him before my then boyfriend got to. She argued with me over his name, over keeping him intact. But I stood strong with those things at least. Anyway, back to this year. I'm very unorganized with writing in general, so I apologize. I went no contact with my mother in February of this year after she chopped my son's hair off with a paper scissors for the second time during a visit. And I still spoke to my grandparents. I had lived with both of them in the same house, mom and grandparents. My grandfather kept telling me I needed to get over myself and let her see my boys, how my mom loved them and missed them. He told me I was making my grandmother sick and causing problems with the whole family. He told me and my mom he has every right to take me to court for grandparent visitation. No such thing in New Jersey. No such thing in New Jersey. I got in contact with a lawyer and she told me New Jersey doesn't have grandparent rights. Told you. I went no contact with my grandparents in April and received a few emails from him with subtle threats about my kids. I'll attach those. I'm used to not enjoying parenting until I used to not enjoy parenting until I moved out of my family's. My kids are healthy and well cared for, referring to his emails. I gave into his emails and responded since he was telling me that my kids must be neglected or abused, and that's why I won't see them. Not because I just don't want to see my family, but because of something horrible instead, right? I caved, saw both my grandparents and mother twice. Mistake. Which went horribly, and then not long after I went, no contact again. Despite telling my grandparents not to come to my apartment, they still show up randomly every so often. I don't answer the door. They leave very fast after dropping off random gifts of garbage items from their house, or they'll leave me a letter. The last one my grandma wrote asking if they'll ever see us again, and that I'm breaking her heart. My family told me back in 2015 that the rape from my ex was my fault, that he must have been depressed from me leaving him and couldn't deal with it. They still remained in contact with him and sent him birthday cards since I have one child with him. We were never married though. I am currently no contact right now, but I'm terrified. My husband seems to have narc traits that I'm noticing since being away from my family. But anyway, I'm scared all day, every day of my family sending CPS here or the cops to do welfare checks. The idea of it just scares me because I'm very socially anxious. Every door slam or stomping on stairs in my building gives me horrible anxiety and fear. I want to move out of New Jersey, but we can't afford to right now. My lawyer said I can't get a restraining order because it doesn't qualify as continuing harassment. She's seen the emails. Being no contact terrifies me because I don't know what they're saying about me or if they're doing any legal crap behind my back, which they've tried before. I have other distant family members sending me messages saying my grandparents love me and the boys so much that I can't just cut them out. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to any family members. I wish I could write about everything they've done, but it would be so long. I just want to protect my boys and myself. My therapist says my family has done some of the most twisted things she's ever heard. And here are the messages. All right, this is to her. A word of advice. Rumors about why no one sees the boys must not be well cared for. Don't want people to see. dispel rumors with little visibility. We'll try to drop stuff on our way home, but outer door locked, we can't. Grandpa. This is her responding. Me and the kids were asleep whenever you must have come. I don't know if Aaron was, and that's really nice to have accusations made. Is that some type of threat to try to force me to have everyone see the kids? Assuming it's probably my mother saying most of it, and I've spoken to Medicaid multiple times recently and corrected numbers and addresses. And this is him again. Sorry for the delay, been busy. I wasn't referring to your mother. She doesn't want to stir trouble for you. That's another veiled threat. We are asked often by people who care about the family if we have seen the boys and how are they. Always these random calls. Oh, people are asking. That's bullshit. We only say what we saw. Like, they all answer the same way. These vague answers that you're in trouble and other people see it and other people are asking. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. We can only say what we saw when we saw it. Some people get upset with us about the infrequent visits. I was only trying to cue you that there are some who talk about it and how you could, with little effort, nip the gossip so that some well-meaning busybody doesn't cause you trouble. That's all. Those are all veiled threats. And this is, they're showing you their mind. This is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of people saying shit behind their backs. So they want to put it on you. What are they going to say? Unless you're doing something untoward with your children, what are they possibly going to say? And the fact that you already have a lawyer, if CPS shows, I just call the lawyer. Say, listen, I already have a lawyer. Call in my lawyer. And I leave it at that. Regarding Blue Cross, another message on the phone. I think it was recorded Thursday. Apparently they aren't getting their info updated. Could we have your mailing address, please? Our P.O. box will be closed in the near future, so you know. Also, we have to talk about what you left in the house as final moving day is approaching. Can we pick up your key to your mother's storage unit? Bobby can't seem to find his key. Bullshit. And they'll use any excuse. Don't do it. Stay away from them. They will use any excuse to stage a meetup. Any excuse to draw you out. Don't fall for it. These are all excuse tactics. You are under no obligation to let your children see their grandparents or your mother. There's no such thing as grandparents' rights in New Jersey. There's barely anything anywhere in the country, grandparents' rights. It's bullshit. They are just trying to draw you out for an incident to maybe set you up for CPS. Don't do it. So, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I hope this helps, Laura. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comments section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, if you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just sponsor the channel in general, see it grow, keep the lights on and the bills paid, because this channel is still sponsored 100% by contributions from all of you. Without you, this channel goes away. So you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. And if you're still unclear, wait for the instructional video link to pop up on the screen at the end of this video to walk you through all of that. Please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.